Evening, everybody, and how are we all doing today? This is the Sunday night live stream. That's it, from the Veg Grower podcast. My name's Richard. I'm your host, as I no doubt you all know. It is the 2nd of April 2023, and yes, I'm looking rather hairy. I haven't shaved, I haven't cut my hair for a while, and it's in desperate need of doing so. Apologies for that. Now, today I want to talk about making your own salad mixes. This is something that has been playing on my mind and I've been looking at for quite a while. And I thought it would make quite a decent discussion. It's also on the podcast tomorrow, so this is going to be a bit of info coming forward from you guys. First of all, let's see if we've actually got anybody out there. And yes, I can see there's a lot of people joining in already. Turbo Stream is out there saying, "Good evening, Veg Podcasters." And he follows up saying, "First time this year, can sit on the patio with some warm sunshines. Isn't it lovely to have a bit of sun today?" Ballycillian is out there saying, "Good evening to everyone. Good evening to you." Oracle is out there. "Hello, Veg Armour and Stuart Jackson over on the other outlet. Hope you've had a good week, mate. Did you ever get the pear tree sorted?" We'll find out. No, I think he's away this week, actually, if I remember correctly. Nicola is out there. "A nice bit of early evening sun. Would be nice to stay out and play." Indeed it would, but we've got a show to do. So I've got to be here. Idaho is out there saying, "Hello, Richard." Hello to you. And she also says hello to everyone in the chat as well. Who else? Kate Spratt is out there. "Good evening, Veg Army." Good evening to you. Tabo Stream says it's been a very weak here in Birmingham, so not much gardening done at all. It's been very wet here as well. I've had the week off work. I've sorted my garage out, to be fair, but yeah, it was very wet all week as well. But lots done, but I'll fill you in on that a little bit later on. Hargrove Gas, "Evening all. Missed last week as travelling, but watched up and catch up. Hope you've had a great week." Good evening to you. Hope you are well. Who else have we got? Philly SPB is out there. "Hello, everyone. Good evening to you." David Williams is joining us. "Hey, all. Good evening to you." Jenny Hallett. "Hello, everyone. Hope you are all well." What else have we got? Anna Jones is out there. Good evening to you. Scott Ambler is out there. Evening to you. Chillyfield is out there saying, "Good evening all from the Chilies." Kate has just got back from the allotment. Digwell saying, "Evening all. Just gone cold here. Freezing overnight tonight." Brr. Hope it's not. I'll check the weather later. I haven't turned the heater on tonight, so I'm hoping it's not going to be too cold in here. Oracle says, "No need to apologise, Richard. We understand you letting yourself go a bit." Yeah, I do need a haircut. My dad's out there. "Good evening. Hope you've all had a good week planting." Got lots done this week that I'll fill you into. Muddy Boots is out there. "Evening from the allotment. Lovely day today. Been sifting soil for my carrot tanks." Fantastic. And Ernie's out there saying, "Hi, Richard. Listening as I mow the grass." Be careful mowing the grass and trying to type on your phone or whatever you're listening on. Don't want you to hurt yourself. Don't want you hurting yourself at all. So phone line is open if you do want to call in. The number is 07307 135 174, and I will add a link if you want to zap in as well. Let's just get that into the comments. That link is going up in the comments right now. So making your own seed mixes. This is something that occurred to me. As you know, on the podcast, we are trying to look at ways for people to save money. We are bearing in mind that the cost of living crisis has caused many issues for many people. And what I realised, I was looking through some packets of seeds, and I've got an example here. Let's switch us to the overhead camera. This is the spicy herb seed mixture. So it's a combination of, what's it say? Doesn't say in here what is in. Here we go. It's got wild marjoram, sweet trefoil, wild rocket, barley salad, dill, and that's it. That's the ones that make up that salad mix. Now, what I noticed is that the price of those seed packets, they are pretty expensive. They're still cheaper than buying from a shop, the actual salad leaves, but they can be quite expensive. And what I noticed, if we mix some of these salads together, or some of these ingredients together, we find that we get ourselves a bit of a saving. Now, before we get on with that, Nicola has just zapped in.
Hello.
Hello, how you
Hello.
doing?
Well, we're out in the driveway at the moment, and I thought, do you know what? I haven't sent you photos of my plot ever, have I? And I keep meaning to. So I thought, while the sun was still shining, I'd quickly do, instead of photos in, I'd quickly just let you see the mess that we're in and what we're doing, if you want to.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. I've
Right.
seen another
Okay.
headshot.
So I'm just walking through the messy driveway, which is meant to park about 8 cars, and it's full of horse manure at the moment.
Oh, has she? Is it mine that she's? Is she still there? Is she still there for everyone else, or is it just me? Um, has she
Did you see
frozen?
any of that? Because I
No,
think
I didn't. I don't know about anybody else.
Right, let's try over here then. So this is the driveway, and we just bought a few primulas, and I'm just deadheading them while we listen to the programme. And then this is a very messy walkway through, and then that's compost, and that's horse manure.
Yeah. Have you frozen again?
Flower garden. So hopefully you've seen a little bit of that.
Yeah, I saw a little bit.
Oh, do you want me to go and do it? I'm just a bit embarrassed, really.
Oh, don't worry about that. We're all pretty friendly
Well, they've
here.
decided now.
God.
Sprouting. Which is under a net.
Oh, purple sprouting broccoli, is that? She's got again, hasn't she? I cannot hear or see her. I don't know about any.
No, I totally wrecked your show.
Sorry. No, gone again, I'm afraid. I think Digwell is saying gone, so it's not just me. Oh, and she's completely gone now, so there we go. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Obviously, poor signal, perhaps. Rebecca has joined. Sorry I'm late. Having a lovely full day in the garden. I hope you've had a lovely day then. So where was I? I was talking about, the seed mixtures. What I realised, so I get a lot of seeds for free, obviously, from magazines or like That's Stopping Soon. I realised what I could do is take a lettuce seed, some cress, some rocket, and some other seeds, mix them all together and make my own salad mixes up. And that worked out much cheaper. You get much more in many cases, and you can tailor it to your own tastes. So has anybody ever done this or thought about doing this? So quickly, Idaho is saying, I have so many leftover lettuce seeds in packets. I've been thinking of just spreading them all over one area. They will either come up or they don't. I know how you feel. I get so many lettuce seeds. I do eat a lot of lettuce and salad leaves, to be fair, so it's not a complete loss for me. Kate says, I've got a lettuce seed mix from Real Seeds. They were brilliant last year. Yeah, I mean, I'm not familiar with the ones from Real Seeds, but I've tried quite a few over the years of the mixtures, and they usually, they might have kale, they might have Mizuna, they might have rocket, they might have, I don't know, the world's your oyster. It all depends on different tastes. Beetroot leaves is another example, isn't it? These are all the mixes, all the things that I have thought about that we could add. So what do you think, or would you look at mixing any of these seeds together to get your own salad mix? The problems I thought, or the considerations I've come up with when I was thinking about this, is that something we would have to think about is obviously we want the seeds to have the same germination rate. So there's no point having lettuce that comes up in 7 days and something else that comes up in 3 weeks. We want them all to be about ready at the same time. And then we get winter mixes or summer mixes, and they're different variations of different mixes that we could adapt to. Kale or something might be better suited for the winter mixes, for example. So quickly on to the comments. Nicola says, sorry if that wasn't very good. I think it's a signal problem, but not to worry. If it's any use, Digwell says, do a video, would love to see it all. That would be great. TurboStream, I am still to grow a decent salad patch, or perhaps I should try a mix. Just this week, pricked out a headed mix into modules. Yeah, I mean, this is it. Different mixes, different modules. I mean, headed lettuce is not really suitable for cut and come again salads, unless you pick them when they're very, very small. But I still grow headed lettuce, and it does go down very, very well. Moneywood says, I have about 5 or 6 different lettuce. Mix them up and sow them in a large tray. I then use and cut and come again. This is exactly what I was trying to get across. This is what I want to find out. Do you have any 5 or 6 particular lettuces that you might use, or do you just have whatever's available? Digwell Steve says he does exactly the same there. But are they a specific breed, a specific variety that you use, or just what you have available? Now, Oracle says, I'm like every man on the allotment site who has a partnership with a wife. I do as she says, so I have no doubt we will be mixing this year. I personally think, and I'm basing this on the price of what salad leaves cost in seeds. You know, let's use this as an example. So this is a packet of salad bowl, which is a good one for cut and come again salad leaves. And it says there's about 1,250 seeds in this packet. Now, this was free from a supermarket. But if I was to buy that from a garden centre, we're looking about £2-3 these days. But then you mix it up with, as I say, these other two, for example, you've got 3 times as much, and it'll probably cost you a lot less. In theory, that's my theory anyway. Jenny says, I just shove loads of packet ends together as long as they are all cut and come again, or can be used as cut and come again. Sometimes works well, sometimes not. Nothing ventured and nothing gained. Yeah, absolutely agree. You know, as I said earlier, the whole thing that I felt we have to come up with is, or to make it work scientifically, I guess, is what comes up at the same time. But if it works for you guys, then all well and good. This is, you know, again, pop this across, let people know. It might go to help save some people some money. I think it's a brilliant idea, it says Idaho, to make your own mixes. The seed mixes are pretty expensive. I think they are pretty expensive for what they are. As I said, I feel you can come up with a good mix of your own with some better choices. Chili Kate says, I don't make mixes as such, but I do scatter both red salad bowl and green salad bowl in the same area to get a nice mix. See, that's a great idea. I mean, the other thing I was thinking of when I was sort of planning this talk out is what we could actually do is do a row of the red salad bowl, a row of the green salad bowl, a row of kale, a row of rocket, and then just harvest the leaves as and when needed. That was another way, or it might be an easier way to do it, or one that you might tailor more to what you want. Toby Stream says, I had to check out a cut and come again mix as they all died off. That's a shame. That is a shame. As I said, my veggie pod, my medium veggie pod now, that pretty much will be full of cut and come again salad leaves because I like them. I like them a lot. I asked Nigel what mixes does he have, and he says mainly spicy leaf and salad with some. We sometimes add rocket. Again, this is great. This is exactly, you know, red and green salad bowl, bit of rocket, bit of Mizuna, which is kind of rocket anyway. Trying to think what else we could add. What else could we add to some of these mixes? Get your ideas in. Digwell says, I just use any out-of-date seeds that I don't want to risk in its own space. Again, just throwing it all in. I think that's a great idea, a bit like the microgreens, use the seeds that are out of date. And so on. Turbo Stream says, what do you all grow your salads in? That's a very, very good question that I'll throw out there to everyone. For me, I grow mine in the medium veggie pod just because it's so convenient and so easy. But I used to, before I had the veggie pod, I used to take some of the trays and fill those and grow those up with them. So, but anybody else got any ideas what they do? Chili Cake says, I sow mine in a grow table, very, very budget version of the veggie pod. It works, it works. Idaho says, I've sown salad greens in raised beds in containers and just started in AeroGarden. I've not done a mix in AeroGarden. What's an AeroGarden? Is that an air garden? I'd like to find out more on that. That sounds interesting. Digwell says red and green make brown. There's always one that has to lower the tone, doesn't it? Often have too much rocket in salad mixes I've ever bought. I like rocket now, I've got to say. I do like rocket. Turbo Stream, I struggle to get the leaves to mature to a decent size to get any meaningful harvest. So what I tend to do with cut and come again, Turbo Stream, and I don't know if this is your problem, when they are like that too, I just cut them and harvest them and then leave them to grow. There's no real letting them to get to a decent size. I just cut them. Digwell says he adds a bit of Mizuna for spiciness. Yeah, good idea. And then Kate says, I do struggle to work out which are the weeds. Understand that. Completely understand that. That's one of the things that I've thought about a lot. But sterile soil, and if you're good with your maintenance, you should keep it away. What else? Bally Cillian says, I like to add mustard to my salad mix, and I use old fish boxes I get free from fishmongers. I've got a fish box right under here at the moment. Been tidying up. You probably noticed I've been tidying up this shed a little, and fish boxes that I use generally for growing leeks in, but salad mix, that sounds like a good idea as well. Didn't think about it. I mean, could you add some young leeks to this salad mix? I guess you could. That could work. Almost forgot, I also grow salad greens in a garden tower. What's a garden? Upright tower? I'm guessing. Turbo, I bought some bigger window seal trays to try. I just can't justify the price of a veggie pod to grow salad. Granted, they are expensive. I consider myself very, very lucky with them. But there are other options, completely other options. Idaho says, AeroGarden is indoor hydroponic. Digwell reviewed it on his channel. Of course he did. Now I remember. AeroGarden, indoor hydroponic. A lot of people are getting into hydroponics this year. Do salads grow well in hydroponic systems then? That's another question I can throw out. I did try some in one of my hydroponic systems. It seemed to work quite well, but that was only a one-off that I tried out. But anybody else? Hargrave Gas says, I grow mine in some B&Q storage boxes. I've drilled holes in the bottom of, cheaper than buying proper planters. Completely agree with that. Again, there are people out there trying to save money at the moment, and this is one of the things that definitely need to look at saving money. Nicholas says she uses the mushroom trays or the fish boxes. Fish boxes, great idea, actually. They work very well. As I said, do you remember when you used to get buy vegetables in punnets, like plums or even salad leaves? They used to come in punnets. I used to actually use those for growing my salads as well. It gave me a chance to grow a good mixture. We've just thrown a load out because we're not using them anymore. The other thing I tend to use, we don't get her food in it, but we used to get these white trays. You've probably seen them, that Roxy's food would come in. I'm using them a lot for seeds at the moment, but they were pretty good, or would be pretty good as well. Ad Webb says, hello all, hello to you. And he goes on to say, did you see that in Gardener's World this week? Adam laid his rake the wrong way up. Health and safety nightmare. I personally didn't. I don't watch TV. I don't have a TV, I should say. So Gardener's World is... I never really watched it for some... I've never really watched TV in general. So I certainly can't watch Gardener's World anymore. Though I keep wanting to. Just not for me. I cannot justify paying the TV license just to watch one program. Kate says, I love hydroponics. Fantastic. Really have got to try hydroponics one year. Really get into it. Turbo Stream says, to answer my own question, one of the plot holders grew lettuce in a wash-nut bowl. They were lovely young plants. Again, wash-nut bowl works. You know, they're cheap. They're reusable. They're pretty decent size for growing salad leaves. Yeah. And what I personally would do, you may have seen it in a video, or I spoke about this on a podcast as well, where I made my own seed bed, if you like, out of a plastic container. I drilled a hole in the side, so about 1 inch from the bottom, so it creates like a well of water on the bottom. There's perlite at the bottom as well, but that works really well with a washing up bowl because it just helps keep that soil moist for a little bit longer. Nicholas says, just picked up some free trays from Dobbies. It's from the trays for veg starter plants. Thought I can use for microgreens and pea shoots. Fantastic. I mean, anything free like that you're going to use. I've got to admit, I've spent this week going through my garage, and I don't know about anybody else's garage. Our garage never really gets used for a car. We need to, well, we can't open the door on it anyway, but that's a whole other thing. But we never use it for storage of cars. So it just becomes a bit of a dumping ground. And I went through there this week and I found so much gardening equipment and stuff that I was just like, I'm never going to use this, or broken tools and things. And I've done what I hate doing. I've taken them to the tip. I hate getting rid of anything, but it's just got to the point when I'm holding on to rubbish for the sake of it. So I'm trying not, unless I'm going to use it, and I know I'm going to use it, I'm trying not to take anything that might be free. Idaho says lettuce grows great in AeroGarden. Fantastic. I really must try this AeroGarden one day and try hydroponics more fully. Turbo Extreme, I tried the mushroom trays, but the compost dried out even with a plastic liner. Try a woolen liner, like a hanging basket. There you go, hanging basket. That might be another thing to grow your salad leaves in as well. They will dry out, of course. But yeah, for the mushroom trays, I would use like a woolen mat, because I'm getting into wool at the moment. Put the compost on top of that and then sow the seeds. And that said, hanging baskets, there's something I'm growing a lot of this year. And, well, I did last year as well. Strawberries, tomatoes, salad leaves. Yeah, all these things can be added. Tammy String also says that Gardener's World is uploaded to YouTube. Is it up already? If so, I might watch it later on. As I said, I don't really watch... I better explain when I say I don't really watch much of anything. I struggle with watching anything. That's why I'm a podcaster more. Idaho says, despite being told and reminded, one time I laid my rake fine the wrong way. I stepped on it and got bonked on the head. Live and learn. I haven't done that since. Yeah, we've all done it. We have all done it. And I defy anybody that says they hasn't. You know, it's just that typical comedy moment. But you only do it the once. You only do it the once. Turbo Extremes, I'm going to try the wick in bed method too. I've got to say, all my pots, I will do the wick in bed method if I can. Just because I find it to be much more better. My granddad's greenhouse down on the allotment, all the plastic containers in there are using the wick in bed method, just because it just means that I don't have to water there on a daily basis. It just holds onto that water for that much longer, which is great, which is what we want to hear. Nigel says, a good YouTuber who grows great hydroponics salad crops. Chuck at Fenster Farm. Fantastic. I really must try hydroponics a bit more. If I could just, I thought about, or when was it? Just before I got married, actually, my brother had this bright idea to make a hydroponic system. He's into all his, what would you call it? Computers and stuff. I think I've said before. And he got, what was it? BlackBerry. It was, no, not BlackBerry. Blueberry, something or another, where you write your own programs. He was making a hydroponic system out of guttering and pipe and pumps and stuff to do that with. But I don't know what happened with it in the end. It took a while for it to really kick in. Turbo Stream says, I watch too much YouTube, especially in winter. I need to watch less of it. Well, yeah, you know, as I said, I don't watch much at all just because I can't. I don't know. I'm a podcast person. I need to. I do say I need to watch more. I need to spend more time on social media as well. Bally Susan says, before filling a hanging basket, I place a sponge in the bottom, and that helps to hold water and slowly releases it. Now, that's a good idea as well. And I'm wondering that in a wicking bed system, would that also work? I mean, I usually put perlite in the bottom of a wicking system, which acts like a sponge anyway. But a sponge might be a cheaper alternative, thinking about it. Yeah, that's something to think about. As Rebecca says, that's an interesting idea, Ballycillian. Very interesting. Can you get natural sponges that would go in the compost bin as well? Nick, there's a train I just heard. Nicola, I picked up some semi-transparent large containers from the microbrewery. Going to try using for growing tower and cloches and hydroponic containers. It will be fun. I'll take photos. Please do, Nicola. I think I don't know if I read out Digwell's comment about doing a video so we can see it, because I've seen your photos you've shown me in the past when we saw you at CD Sunday, so I know how much land you've got. But I think it would be good to see a video. Again, all good. I've read that one. Me too, Tabastream. I have a small notebook while watching gardening YouTube and take notes of things I must use the following grow system. As I said, I do need to watch more YouTube. There's some really good YouTubers. It's just, for me, finding the time. I'm always on the go, always doing something. The only time I ever stop is when I'm asleep. It drives my wife mad. I can think of better things to do on a Sunday evening. Then what? Oh, well, okay, I'm with you. Very funny. Yeah, watching YouTube on a Sunday evening, of course. I sowed the Digwell tomatoes yesterday using Digwell's plant alignment method. On the 1st of April, the moon lines up with Uranus, so perfect for sowing tomatoes. Fantastic. And he goes on to say that video got a few out. I forgot to do a video or anything for April Fools, apart from what I did on my personal page, but I should have thought of something like that. Next year I will do that. I say that every year. 1st of April. Did anybody fall for any April Fools? Did anybody get caught out with any good April Fools on that subject? Oh, but yes. So yeah, ideas of what else, what you would add to a seed mix for salad leaves. Any ideas on what else you might add, other than lettuce or rocket, mizuna, mustard was one I saw, which is a good idea too. Next weekend, of course, is it Easter? Yes, it is Easter weekend next weekend. Short week this week and a short week the following week. Even better with a long weekend. Gonna get lots done next weekend. I'm certainly hoping to get lots done. Now, as I said, this week I've had some time off. I've been sorting out my garage and I found loads and loads of gardening stuff that I have got rid of. But one of the things I had in the garage, and this is an idea that I've had in my why I kept this, had for a while, is I had a bottle fridge in the garage. Now, I'm not going to recommend anybody else does this because I've had to take the gas out to be safe, and I'm able to do that. But my idea with a bottle fridge is to use it as a cold frame. Now, this bottle fridge is what you would see at behind a bar. Got the glass windows on the front. It's insulated all the way around. So my theory is there's silver as well, so it reflects light all the way around. My theory is this should work really well as a cold frame. It's going to reflect those good light back and around. It's going to hold on to the warmth for a little bit longer as well. And it's cost me nothing. It doesn't look very pretty, granted, but I can do something about that later on. Right, back to the comments. Beetroot and spinach to add to the seed mixes. That's a good one. Yeah, beetroot and spinach. That will definitely work. And the good thing is, if you leave the beetroot, you can harvest obviously a few leaves, but then if you leave it to outgrow the rest, you could end up with beetroot as well. Or, like I said earlier, you have a row of beetroot and you just pick a few leaves. Digwell says every weekend is a long weekend for me. You lucky person. I cannot wait to retire and spend every weekend or spend every day of a week gardening. Turbo Stream says, I bought some Jiffy 7s to try, sowed some Brussels sprouts in a few today. Hopefully they will work out better than the module trays. I don't have much success with. Yeah, a lot of people have said the Jiffy 7s are good. I've not tried them myself, but I'll be interested to find out how you get on with that. Not sure, actually. I have used similar to the Jiffy 7s, but we'll see. Scott says, what about herbs in their salad mix? Yeah, herbs. Basil could go in there. Marjoram or garden. I would say if you're going to throw herbs in, you don't really want any of the woody herbs like rosemary or anything. If you're doing it like cut and come again, but certainly some of the others, yeah, the what's it, leafier growth. That's it. Bunny C, it says, not for me. The only day my work closes is Christmas Day. Sorry to hear that. To be fair, it's the same for me, although we're still open on Christmas Day, just very different on call and stuff. But I'm not on call next weekend. Adrian has joined. Link only just came up. I was a little late getting ready, to be fair, but never mind. But thank you anyway for joining us. Lovely to see you. Jenny says, I had nasturtium and Johnny jump up viola flowers to salad leaf mix planters. Makes a pretty salad. You do like to add a bit of colour. I'm trying to see if I've got any viola seeds I need to sow. I probably do. I know I do. I know I do have a lot of them. Right. What I want to do now, let's have a look at some of the photos that you guys have been sending in throughout this last week. So let's bring this up and let's get rid of that comment and do it like that. That's what I want. So I did make a video for this week just because time wasn't on my side. So first of all, Idaho Garden Girl has sent us this picture of her garden. The weather looks absolutely beautiful there, and it certainly is looking very much like it's spring. It's waiting for everything to kick in. It looks fantastic. Next, this has, let me get rid of the banner, sorry, because I can see what it was. I think this is, where is it? A wrong one. That's it. This was Chili Kate and Chili Phil's allotment, looking fantastic. They really have been working hard to get this into a good shape. Stephen has shared this photo, or these photos, I should say, of his allotment. Very, very small plot he has, but never mind that. He always has so much going on there. This is from another side. As I say, not the biggest allotment, but it does give him plenty of well. That rhubarb looks really good, though. up in the top corner. Rhubarb this year seems to have really gone great guns. Now, this is Alex. First time he's posted, but he's been lurking for quite a while. This is his plot. It looks absolutely fantastic. Looks like there's lots going on as well. He's clearly getting on with it at the moment. Also, Alex's plot. Looks like a cold frame, a shed, a netting. I can't think what it's called. But lots going on. And here we go from another view. And I think there's one more with plastic over to suppress any weeds. Next, Digwell, of course, he's shared his plot photos. Looks absolutely fantastic as well. As we said, used to have 2 plots. He now just has the one. And then I like this. The label saying trespassers will be composted. Certainly something I feel we need on our allotment site at the moment after last week with the robbers, shall we say. I've had to change all my locks again. Digwell also shared this photo. Is that, I was trying to work out what is growing in these shoes. Is that salad barnet or what, Digwell? But I do like the idea of using shoes as planters. Now, Gerard has found a bargain. Excuse my spelling on that. Coca Grow Queer Compost. In Morrison's, 2 of these for £14, and each of these makes about 75 litres of compost. Compost at the moment is incredibly expensive, but trying to find, I'm jury's still out on coir compost, but I quite like a lot of it like that. Shipyard Gardener has been setting up his raised beds as well, as you can see here. Lots going on there. I think this is the raised bed on its side when he's been giving it a good lick of paint, preparing it for the next season. So keep posting those photos, post them in our Facebook group, email me, richard@theveggrower.podcast, or send to me via social media. So where's the, back to the comments. Turbo Stream, perhaps I should stop pricking out lettuce seeds and just thinly direct sow. When it comes to cut and come again, I don't prick them out. I just sow them. Personally, that's all I do. Just sow them, let them grow, cut them. You're not really going to grow the biggest way you use cut and come again. But yeah, that's what I do. Richard Golden says, hello all. Lovely to see you. Hope you are well. Turbo Stream says, I completely forgot to take any photos this week. Too grey and wet this week. I was surprised as many photos came in with how wet it's been this week. But yeah, lovely to see him anyway. Idaho says, yeah, my picture got through the internet corridors, LOL. Yeah, I don't know what happened to your one in the past then. I do always check my spam. I'm always checking my emails. It's probably a problem with my email, knowing my luck. But I always keep a close eye. Digwell says, I'll have a word with Homeland Security. Rebecca says, everybody's plot is looking great, isn't it indeed? I'd love to see some videos as well. Don't forget you can send videos in too. It'd be great to see some of your plots on video. I know it's, at the moment, everyone's probably holding back a bit because it's spring and nothing's really jumping into life, but it will. Chili Cake says, I love how Chilifield gets praise for doing absolutely nothing. I was trying to be polite. I know it's your work mostly, Chili Cake, but I didn't want to be rude. So I will remember that in the future and give Chili Cake all the credit in the future. Digwell says poached eggplants. Poached eggplants grown in those boots. Good idea, actually. What were those? They were same family. Those ones that you ate the flowers and they gave you little electric shocks. What were they called? I thought they were similar to poached eggplants. Look at the lettuce in the boots. That's so fun. Poached eggplants, but it's given me a few ideas. I've got a few old boots and things. I'm like holding on to stuff again, isn't it? Holding on to stuff that I've got to use. Idaho says poached eggplant. I bet that's cute when it blooms. Indeed. Oh, Digwell, I love that. they're going to look great in flow. Indeed, they are. Absolutely. I really do like the idea of using old boots. Fantastic plots, everyone. Fab photos and great pick guides. Now, Kate, as I said, I would have sent photos today, but I was too busy being angry at the awful compost I brought. You did post pictures of this, but what I actually did instead was downloaded the video you sent to me of this. Where is it? So it seems like a good point to bring up this video for everyone because my jaw literally dropped when I saw this. That is absolutely awful. Digwell says it best. That is the worst compost I have ever seen. And I thought exactly the same. It was barely rotted down well enough. It was a light brown instead of that dark brown colour. Loads of stones. And I'm not sure what the white stuff. My first thought was it might have been mycorrhizal fungi, but I'm really not sure that was it in it. Now, I'm just going to balance this out by sort of saying I had a bag of New Horizon outside my back door that I used today. I've started a potato experiment. And actually, that bag of compost, exactly the same as what Kate was using, but my compost was in pretty good nick. You know, nice and black, no bits of stone in it, no bits of anything in it. So I want to temper that and be fair with putting this out on the social media, of course, but that was terrible compost. Digwell says, look at those stones. So many. It was gravel. It was like somebody had just dug up the gravel road path and threw it into the compost. Absolutely awful. Looks like a lot of wool or something in that. And David also says terrible. It just absolutely awful quality compost. We've discussed how like different batches and the peat-free compost doesn't always have the same quality at the moment. The only one that seems to be fairly consistent is the Koya compost, but as we said, there's a lot of debate about that. But yeah, absolutely awful. Amanda says that compost is horrendous. I would have been fuming. I think it's safe to say she was absolutely fuming. Digwell says, I have New Horizon all vegetable compost in my trial, not opened it yet. As I said, mine was pretty good. I've got to be fair. Really, really good. Turbo Stream, I was tempted to buy a bag of that brand, perhaps not now. Hopefully just a bad bag. Okay. As I said, for me, it's been pretty good. I brought it about a week ago and it's been out my back door ready for this experiment I've set up. You'll see it in a video later this week if everything goes to plan. But yeah, terrible, absolutely terrible. Rebecca says, shocking. I hope you returned it. Well, I do know that Kate did contact the garden centre that she got it from. And the garden centre, I believe they refunded the money. I could be wrong on that, but I believe they did. But they did. They were pretty good. She put it. Kate, I was so shocked. I contacted the garden centre, who were amazing. I think they refunded your money, didn't they? Or they will do. And they are no longer going to be selling or stocking it because I've had quite a few complaints about the quality of it. But I've very much let New Horizon know on their page that too right, too right. You know, they do need to know mistakes happen. I think, Nigel, if we get rubbish compost, we need to notify the supplier, preferably with a video that is uploaded to YouTube. There is some free publicity they don't like. I remember a few years ago, Nigel actually had a compost company come to his house and he videoed the meeting he had with them because there was such a poor quality compost back then. And it was a pretty good outcome, I've got to say, when Nigel did that. I always remember he sat there in his slippers chatting to this company, being like, right, let's get it sorted. You know, and they sorted it out there and then. Accidents do happen. Accidents do happen. But somebody, this is a bit I don't, oh, it was Clover Compost. Clover Compost was the company. What I don't understand, somebody must have saw that going into the bag. I mean, it could be machined, I guess, but somebody must have saw it and would have thought, no, we've got to stop here. The electric shock plant Blumenbachia insignia. It was called something eggplant, I'm sure it was. It was part of the James Wan collection when he did that all those years ago. Yeah. Kate's was all plant compost, different stuff. Yeah, I know. It's different stuff, but it's probably all came from the same place. I don't know. Don't know what the difference between all plant and all vegetable compost is, to be honest. Is there different ingredients? I have to find out. I have to find out on that. Kate does say they are refunding me and discontinuing it. It's the fact someone thought that was acceptable to send out. That's a bit that gets me. There was no quality control gone into it. That for me is the bad thing. As I say, accidents do happen. You know, nobody's perfect. Things do go wrong, but that's not acceptable. Digwell says Clover is the only ones I use now. Are they bulk buying the Clover one? You know, reason I ask, I mentioned this on the podcast, on the Supporters Club podcast. I've been after Dalefoot compost. I got some now, which is a compost made from wool for this experiment that I've set up. And I went to their website and got some. Found where they said that they were selling it at. And I contacted a few garden centres and they said, no, we're not selling it. It's been really difficult to get some. I've got some now, thankfully, but even where I got it from, the garden centre is saying they're getting rid of it because I don't think it sells. I think it's too expensive to sell at a garden centre, which is a shame because if it works well, then it can only be a good thing. And I'm wondering, is Clover one of these that you can only get online? A bit like a lot of the compost companies that I see at certain events, I only seem to be able to get them online. And when you factor in postage and packaging, sometimes it doesn't really make financial sense. Nigel says fried Dalesfoot, wasn't impressed, mix of sheep wool, bracken, etc. Yeah, I mean, it looks okay at the moment. We'll see what happens. What I've done, I've planted potatoes in different compost. So we've got my own homemade compost. We've got straw, which I just use straw. We've got this bag of compost I got from the range. It's called Super Grow. It's £2.50 for 5 litres if you buy 4 bags, that is, which is the cheapest I could find. It looks good, but I'm a bit unsure. We've got the Koya compost from Wilco's. We've got the New Horizon and the Dalesfoot. 3 Charlotte seed potatoes in each container. We're going to see what grows the best. I'm expecting my own compost to perform the best, but I'm expecting the Dalesfoot to be pretty slug-free. But is it going to be worth spending the extra money on a bag of Dalesfoot compost compared to something like New Horizon or the Wilco's Queer compost. So I'm trying to find out this year, and as I said, video coming out this week that goes into that a little bit more detail. I've never seen clover or Bathgate compost in my area. I might venture into the Black Country to find some. Yeah, I mean, it's worth going out and seeing what is out there. Spoke to Clover Rep, and he wasn't aware of any peat-free ready for production. I thought everywhere has to be peat-free these days, or it's coming in, isn't it? Is it next year that garden centres are not allowed to sell peat-based compost? Dalesford was too expensive for my trial, trying to keep it realistic at less than £10 a bag. Yeah, it cost me $9.99 for a bag of Dalesford, so it was under that £10 mark. It's not easy anymore to get compost under £10 a bag. Just move, what? Sorry, I just seen they've just moved the date, Richard. Moved the date for what? Oh, the compost, the peat, right? Peat-based compost. Okay. When have they moved it to? And small bags too. So I completely lost my train of thought there. Sorry, that completely threw me. David Williams says under £10 a bag. Yeah, under £10 for a bag of compost. Most are now getting sort of £8-9 I'm noticing since they've gone peat free. There are a few out there that are cheaper, but is it going to be worth it? Is it going to be worth it? It's now something like 2030. So all these garden centres that have been selling off their peat-based compost over the last year for cheap haven't had to do that in reality. Jesus, that's weird. That's annoying, isn't it? I mean, I'm all for going peat free. I do think, you know, peat has its merits. I won't say it doesn't, but we've also got to be a bit more realistic that it's not really sustainable moving forward, and other composts we need to be using. But shifted dates like that when they were just trying to sell them. Digress says he can't find any links to that news about it's just been moved. He's looking now. That's really annoying though. If they've changed the date. Yeah. Anne says my garden centre are all two for £18. I'm feeling the way forward after peat-based stops might be a mixture of my own worm compost and Koya. I am of the same opinion, to be honest. I mean, Koya compost, people were worried about the shipping of coconut husks from India and the cause of that. But what I like about it is that if I went to Wilkinson's, I can buy that pack for £4. It's easy to carry, easy to get into the vehicle, and then you just got to hydrate it when you get it home. So for me, because it's compressed and everything, it seems just a little bit better in that regard. And Wilco's is a prime example, because if at the garden centres, it's easier to get compost into your into the back of your car, but Wilco's are often in shopping centres or down shopping streets, don't necessarily have a car park. You can't take the trolley with you. So I liken it for that very reason. Ballysin, Clover 60 litres, we pay 2 for £10 over there in Northern Ireland, if I'm not mistaken. That's pretty good, actually, isn't it? That's very good. So you can't get seeds over there, but you can get clover compost. That's really good. Nigel says ends for amateur end of 2023. I think trade growers can continue for at least another year. find out for me. Anybody finding out the information, that would be great. Kate says, has anyone tried Earth Cycle? They even do a specific no dig compost, but it all bulk buy, so I'm a little nervous about getting it. I looked at Earth Cycle. In all honesty, when it comes to bulk buying compost, I tend to use, I had to do this for the Veggie Pod, I tend to use a local compost company. Have a quick look online. There's bound to be some with you, just because I don't know where Earth Cycle is based, but if there's extra traveling involved, it kind of defeats the point of bulk buying in some ways. They may deliver it to your house, but I prefer to get somebody local to do it, just so that it reduces all the pollution, etc., etc. Retail ban in 2024, but professionals use ban now up to 2030, up from 2028. There we go. So it is banned from retail the end of this year, but professionals can use it up until 2030. Homebase doing organic compost, 50-litre bags, buy 10 and it works out at £2.50. That's a bit like the stuff I got from the range, the Super Grow it called. You buy 4 bags for a tenner, and they're £2.99 a bag, or 4 for a tenner, which I think is pretty good. I have to look out for the Homebase. So 25, 50, yeah, I could do that. Bathgate multi-purpose, 2 times 50 litres, £7 by me. That's good. That's very good. For only more more compost companies was coming down to this price. I've used Lidl compost for years. Never had a problem until last year where everything was slow. I've had mixed results with Lidl compost. Again, I'm going to sneeze. So, excuse me. Sorry about that. Yeah, Lidl compost I've had mixed results with. I find sometimes it's either got a pesticide or a herbicide in it and nothing grows, and other times it can be very good. Again, it's down to that thing we were talking earlier about quality control. It's never been that great quality control. Jenny says, a study shows as coir is a waste product that is light and shipped easily as an extra load. The environmental impact footprint is small, so it has a footprint but smaller than you would think. Yeah, that's my understanding as well. I believe like a company could ship an entire container from India, which works out much cheaper than transporting peat, or less carbon footprint than shipping peat from Scotland. So there's definitely that side to it. It's whether it's any good. I mean, so far I'm quite impressed with stuff, but we'll see what happens. Government page, we believe that the ban on the amateur sector for 2024, which accounts for 70% of use, is still the right approach. A phased approach for the professional sector with some exemptions. Yeah, as I say, peat has always been a good thing to add. You know, it is good. It's just the mining of it that's not good. From 2026 and a full ban from 2030 is achievable given the number of peat alternatives available and a period of time permitted for the sector to adjust. Barry Soon says the peat rules don't apply in Ireland. There we go. But yeah, I think we've discussed this many times before, the peat-free compost just isn't quite as good as peat-based compost. Well, it can be if the quality control, as we saw with Kate's video, the quality control isn't really there. Right, at this point, I just want to remind everybody to please give us a thumbs up, give us a like, give us a follow, give us a subscribe, give us a click of notifications so that you know when we go live. And I have this week's Grow Along. Now, this Grow Along isn't, I haven't got the music or the titles this week. My computer's playing around, so I haven't been able to do that, but it's still a video. And this week we are sowing melons. Right, well, as promised, we are going to start growing my melons. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of innuendo going on with this, but these are my own melons. The variety I am growing is called F1 Mango Mel. Let me show you the front of the package. Never grown this particular type before, but hopefully it will be a good variety. Now we've got a pot here, and there should be 4 seeds, as we can see, 4 seeds in there, which should take up 1 row of this particular pot, which is perfect. We will have to start these off indoors. This greenhouse is actually quite warm at the moment, but I'm sure overnight it gets quite cold. So we'll start these off indoors, and all we do, we just push them into the ground, into the soil, to get them started off. Nothing complicated at all. As I said, indoors, they need that warmth just to get them going. Then we'll prick them out and pot them up. Most melons are better suited to greenhouse growing if you can do that. Some can go outside, but generally speaking, you get better melons growing them in a greenhouse if you can do that. Then looking after them, pretty easy to look after. I'm just looking on the back of the label and seeing it says it's slightly a bit too early to sow them at the moment, but looking after them like tomatoes, every couple of weeks, bit of a feed with a tomato feed, keep them well watered, and train them as they grow. I believe you can put them into something like hanging baskets to get them training down. I've never done that myself, but that might be something that we do this year. Now, on that note, other things that we have grown in the past, or rather what I've noticed from these live shows, some of the seeds that we've sown in the previous grow alongs, the basil we sowed in the pot is just starting to show itself, so that is fantastic. Right, so over to you guys now. Let us know all your melon growing tips in the comments as we talk, as well as I'm putting this out on a separate Facebook video as well, just to get a bit more growth going. Share your tips, share how you grow your melons in the comments. And now next week, up to you guys what we sow. Again, let me know in the comments. It's obviously on the live show. Let me know what we should sow next week for the grow along. Yes, indeed. Let us know what seeds to sow next week, and get sharing your melon growing tips. David Williams says, I always thought Pete was a nice guy, good looking too. Indeed. Rebecca says, it's not there yet for seedlings. I have so much fail. He's talking about peat-free compost. I've got to admit, I've not really, I'm trying to think, is my seeds sowing the compost peat-free? I don't think it is actually, but I'll check that out. Turbo Stream says, my friend has a house in Ireland. He brings me peat fire bricks back for my fire. Makes a mockery of the ban for composts, as it's if they burn as fuel. Yeah, I mean it is all about protecting those peat bogs. They will recover, but they take a long time to recover. Jenny says, coir on its own is great for seeds. Low nutritional value, but it's an excellent bulk upper and holds moisture brilliantly. So it makes peat free and dries out some good texture, holds moisture, and more for your money. But funnily enough, I do actually have some seed and cutting compost from Coca Grow. I think that's 15 litres, which is not bad thinking about it. I paid £4 for that from Morrison, so I have to get some more of that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how that does work out. Turbo Stream, melon innuendo alert, of course. Is the range compost organic? Yes, it is organic and it's peat free, which says it is anyway. Kate says, I've sown some melons this week, though not sure the container is big enough for my melons. I knew there was going to be some innuendos. Jenny says, nice melons, Richard. What do you mean innuendos? You know what I mean. You know exactly what I mean. Managed to deadhead and tidying up 8 trays of primrose as I've been listening. Fantastic. It's what we want to hear, people gardening at the same time, especially as, you know, Is it still light? It's still light out there. So these shows, people are still going to be outside and listening. Things are changing in there too. Bodmer Moore has stopped cutting peat for horticulture. Yeah, it's happening. It's happening. And Nicholas says, what happens to peat-fueled power stations? Well, I go to solar or wind-powered. You know, yeah, it's simple. Show us your what, says Dick. I told you there'd be innuendos. I've tried for decades to grow cantaloupe. Every time failing, but I can grow courgettes, cucumbers, and pumpkins. Melons can be very fussy. The biggest problem I find with melons is they tend to suffer from stem rot, which is where you get water, just a tiny bit of water, and it rots the stem. But that's the same with any of the cucurbit family. I prefer the voiceover on photos as sometimes your voice is drowned out by the music. Yeah, I'm just kind of trying to give myself a break when I do that sometimes, but I'll look into that and change it around. Hargrave gas, they burn it in Irish power stations as well. I'm not impressed with peat-free compost at all, and it seems mad they can still burn it. I guess, yeah. But he said, Digra, changing things over here, we still make poutine, banned many years ago. Poutine? What's that? I think we've had this before. I can never remember what it is, though. Oh, Stuart Jackson has joined from Barcelona. He's really in the sun, isn't he, today? How lovely. How lovely. Yeah, I thought it was a drink, that poutine. Turbo Stream says, I still mostly sow direct things like parsnips, French beans, broad beans. Saves the bother of buying loads of bad compost. Yeah, parsnips I do sow direct, but French beans, broad beans, maybe not so much. Kate says, I'm actually going to use an old bra to keep them off the ground. Not kidding. I think it will work well and make me a bit of a talking point on the allotment. Yeah, that's quite common for people to hold their melons up in their bra or in bras in the greenhouse and stuff. You know, I see those pictures all the time. Or what do other people use is netting, like they get satsumas and things in. They use that to support the melons, because obviously to support the melons they can get too big and drop. It's just not going. It's just getting innuendo. For me, it's innuendo after innuendo. Homemade whiskey. That's it. Love Poachine Hick. I'll have to try it one day. I mean, I'm not much of a drinker, so I won't only have a little bit. Rebecca says the back row is misbehaving tonight. They always are. They always are, especially when the melons come out. Turbo Stream says, I went to Barcelona on a training course a few years back. Lovely place. Enjoy it, Stuart Jackson. And Oracle says, I hope you're having a brilliant time away, Stuart. Indeed. So, yeah, anybody else got any tips for how to grow melons? And also, what do you think, what seeds we should grow in next week's Grow Along? Throwing that out there. Fully fashioned stockings work well for supporting the melons. Have they got peat-free in Barcelona? Good question. Yeah. Good question. Have they gone peat-free in Barcelona? I know many other countries haven't gone peat-free. Excuse me. Very little bit, Richard. It will blow your head up. Poutine. Yeah. I'll be careful with it myself. Chili Kate, I'm growing Melba. First time I've grown melons and hoping they cope out okay outside as they are supposed to. Yeah. I've got some Melba that I've already sown actually. They're indoors and they should hopefully grow well outside. I'm going to try and grow a few melons this year. In fact, talking of Melba, there's some white here. So yeah, we're going to have plenty of melons this year. I hold my melons up in front of me on Garden Naked Day. Yep. that's one way to do it. I'm still trying to grow lettuce, says Turbo Stream. He's still trying to grow his lettuce. Nigel says, where is it? That's after. Do you need to grow melons in pairs? Good question. Good question. I'm guessing you do, or do you? Let's look. Doesn't say anything about that. Watering should be consistent and even to preserve the flesh quality. Supply liquid feed weekly once the fruits are formed. Yeah. Margaret says, when I grew melons, I used to save the orange nets from supermarket oranges to support them. That's exactly what I will be doing, funny enough. I do need to... I do need that bit of support. Bellysin says, first time growing melons this year. Bell and Val sorted me out. Excellent. Jenny says, I grew my melons using ties to the handle of the black buckets for potatoes. Same space and worked well. I was growing tomatoes in the buckets. That's a good idea, isn't it? That's a very good idea indeed. Rebecca also says, I've never grown a melon, but you lot have inspired me to have a go. Excellent. That's what I want to see. Definitely going to be growing a lot of melons this year. I personally am anyway. I must grow a tromboncino ready for Naked Gardening Day, that is. Yeah. Innuendos again, isn't it? Is it too early to sow butternut squash? I would say yes. Hold off end of April before you sow butternut squash, same as pumpkins. Personally, I'm doing those in May, just because they grow so quick and I want to get them outside pretty soon. Have you grown any shark's fin melon yet? No, Ian. I will get in touch. I've waited for the seeds to arrive. I'm not going to, again, probably won't sow those until the end of the month because they will grow big and I don't want them growing too big. That we get problems with them or they take over. Aaron says, used face masks to support melons last year. Well, that's a good idea, isn't it? Face masks. That's a very good idea that we could do face masks. Rebecca says, what about cucumbers? Well, next week we can do cucumbers. I've got quite a few cucumber seeds I need to sow. So, yes, what I will be doing, yeah, cucumbers it is for next week then. Cucumbers, good one. I think I've said before, this year I want to grow a lot of cucumbers because, well, basically I'm dedicating an entire greenhouse to cucumber growing. And we do eat quite a few cucumbers. And try and make the most out of them. Bally Susan says, for the grow along, is it too early for dwarf French beans? I would say it is a little bit too early. I would probably be looking at doing those end of April, beginning of May, French beans. Again, I know next month is probably the best time for those. French beans, runner beans, and the squashes, apart from courgettes, because they grow so quickly, I tend to wait until May so that they're not taking over the place. I mean, I've had to make my greenhouse is just so full at the moment. As I said, I've made this cold frame out of an old bottle fridge, which I'm hoping is going to work a lot better than anything else to make more room in my greenhouse. Turbo Stream says, I sowed dwarf French beans direct in mid-May, Bally. Absolutely. And Digwell says, mine smelled okay, so no face mask. Oh, yeah. Good joke there. So yeah, well, we will do cucumbers next week for the grow along. That's a really good one, actually. Chili Kate says, can anyone recommend a good cucumber variety for growing it outside by a beginner. Happy to grow mini ones if it will work better. Marketmore is probably a good one. It's pretty reliable. It's a good old-fashioned favourite. Yeah, I'd go for Marketmore would be my suggestion. But see if anybody else has any suggestions. Digwell says, not just taken over, Richard, easier to look after later ones. Yeah. Again, easy. There's no point, in my opinion, things like beans and squashes, there's no point just starting those off early because they're just not going to be ready to go outside in time. On that note, Nigel does say, I start my beans early May and plant out spring bank holiday around the 28th of May. That makes, I'd say that sounds about right for me. I'm probably about 2 weeks earlier, mid-May, when I can put mine outside. But yeah. Digwell, I couldn't have written it better. Digwell says, I bet Nigel says mini munch. And straight after that, Nigel says mini munch, great cucumber. Excellent. There you go. 2 Marketmore and mini munch for you, Chili Kate. 2 varieties. I'm trying to think what cucumbers I've got. I've got so many cucumbers to sow this year, or every year. I'm really working hard at trying to get my seeds down. So we coming up. We got just over 10 minutes left of this show. If anybody does want to zap in for the last 10 minutes, that would be great. Or you can call in 07307 135 174. I tell you what, I think what we're going to do next week, we're going to do this cucumber grow along, but what I want to do is let's discuss the last frost dates and when you put your plants out. Yeah, when do you get your plants outside? With your vegetable plants outside. That, I think that might be a good discussion to have next week, so we get a wide range of different opinions on things like that. What do you think on that for a subject for next week? When do you put your plants outside? And I'm talking about a wide variety, not just your tomatoes, cucumbers, your delicate plants, things like your cabbages, your cauliflowers, and etc. etc. Ian says, I grow Cetrilo cucumbers and taste lovely from Frenchy Scenes. I've not tried those, but I'll take your word on it. Grow melons for a few years. Blenheim Orange and Minnesota Midget both are reliable ones for those who are looking to grow melons. Good choices, I've got to say. I hope you, Bill and Val, did you have much stolen from your shed or much damage the other week? Or last week, wasn't it? How annoying. Digwell, Mini Munch, Marketmore, Masterpiece, all good small outdoor cukes. Yeah, I mean, I've grown Marketmore, Mini Munch. I'm not sure about Masterpiece, but I certainly think. Well, we got Beth Alpha F1. I posted supporting members. I've posted your seeds out on Friday, so there should be a review sometime this week. There are cucumber seeds in that, so they're going to be worth checking those out too. Cool last frost day. Yeah. I thought that might be a good discussion to have, really. Chili Kate, we'll be joining you from a campsite in the Cotswolds next Sunday. How lovely. I've got to say to both the Chilies, I'm hoping on... am I right in saying you're going to Gardeners World Spring Fair on the Friday? I'm hoping that's right, because I'm really hoping to see you there. Digwell says, got some Minnesota Midget from Bill and Val. And Bill and Val says, very welcome. Idaho says, I love cucumber. I'm always pretty excited when they are ready and eat them every day. We pretty much do, or we could eat them every day here as well. I really like the small ones, the gherkins, because I like to pickle those as well, so that they last. I know gherkins cannot. I never understand people that don't like gherkins for some reason, because they are just pickled cucumber. But that's what I like to do with those ones, is pickle them, and so that we've always got cucumbers ready for the winter. Digwell's asking the Chili Cake, where in the Cotswolds are you camping? Ian says, never cast a clout till May is out. Is that, I know that's a saying, but would you say that's true these days? I mean, again, it does depend where you are in the world. Personally, for me, it's mid-May, but we'll get into that next week. Stuart says, Chili Cake, whereabouts are you going? I live on the edge of the Cotswolds. If anyone wants to camp on my farm for free, may have a static linked up electric, already has water and waste. Yeah, that's down in Cornwall. A campsite down in Cornwall, if anybody does fancy it. I'm planning to get down there one day. Just got to get out and about with a wife. Chili Cake says, I'll be at the Spring Fair on Friday. It would be lovely to see you and anyone else that is there. Phil is running a camp for about 600 scouts. Christ, you're going to have your work cut out for you. 600 scouts. Oh, I remember what I did when I was a scout. It's true in my area. Never cast a clout till May is out. I think you're that much further north. So, as I said, it all depends where you are in the country, I feel. Lemon crystal cucumber worked well for me outdoors. I grew lemon crystal cucumber. That was an interesting cucumber, wasn't it? Very interesting. Nice lemony flavour. Val, is Bill feeling any better? There's a question out there to Bill and Val. Is Bill any better? Oh, so yeah, right. Discussion obviously tonight, it has been about making our own salad mixes, which I think moving forward, I'm going to try and do this a lot more now, trying to throw my own lettuce or my different types of lettuce in with my own rocket or mustard or Mizuna or all the different flavors to try and make some different mixes. As I said, I do try and grow a lot of salad leaves, and we do eat a lot of salad leaves. But this year, I'm going to try and save some money. I'm going to make some mixes. In fact, what I'm going to do, as I'm missing one. I've got some here, but I'm going to mix lettuce and Mizuna and rocket. And I thought I had another one somewhere. There was cress, wasn't there? I'm going to try mixing those up and sow those this week and see how that works out. Nicholas says, I have 2 veggie medium pods to fill, thinking salad. Salad does work really well in a veggie pod. Really well, I've got to say. And you can actually grow or save a lot of money I calculated in less than a year the amount of salad that I grew in my veggie pod paid for the veggie pod. So they are great for that. Plus, if you do go away, they can look after themselves. Digwell says, I'm liking lettuce curio at present. Growing it in my veggie pod kitchen garden, growing like mad. That's the veggie pod kitchen garden is the hydroponics kit, isn't it? That might be something I look at in the future. Chili Cake says, just south of Evesham is where she's camping. Just south of Evesham. And it goes on. Digwell says, I'm a bit south of Evesham. Well, there we go. A lot of people in the Cotswold next weekend. Turbo Stream says, hopefully this year is the year I actually grow some salad crops and they are big enough to eat. So, salad crops are pretty easy to look after. consistent water. You can get proprietary feeds for them. Personally, I try and make sure fresh compost is all the feed that they need. Fresh compost each time I sow is all they really need, and that gives plenty of nutrients. We might add in our veggie pod, we might add some of our Grow More at the beginning of a season, or I've got some of these I found actually. These things, plant pills that I've started. I've been putting into pots as well. I don't know if they make any difference, but we'll try it. But yeah, in terms of feed, they don't need much. Bill and Vales Logan says, "I'm getting there, my friend. Thank you. Pleased to hear it, Bill. I wasn't aware you'd been ill, I'm afraid. So hope you are okay. As I said, I hope your allotment was okay after the bloody vandals as well." Nicholas, snail and slugs eat all my spring onions and French beans. Grow them in a veggie pod, actually, because, yeah, snails and slugs. I don't get many problems with snails and slugs in my veggie pod, but they seem cop around the edge would probably stop them as well. And Idaho says, "I will check that Cairo out. I've been growing winter density in mine." I like winter density as well. That's another good lettuce, especially over the winter months. Right, we are going to start winding down for this week. It's nearly 7:30. It's been a good chat again, and interesting to find out what everybody does do for growing salads. Please do feel free to keep sharing your tips and tricks on growing salads, as well as how you grow melons. And I hope everyone out there is going to be sowing melons over the next few days to keep the grow along alive and going. I certainly got quite a few melons growing on my windowsill in other various places, so we're going to be overrun with melons, but they do taste good. Next week we will be sowing cucumbers, and we will also be talking about when do you put your plants outside, when do you get them hardened off, do you have a routine, that sort of thing. So get thinking your thinking caps on that. I haven't set homework, have I? Haven't set any homework. So what I want everyone to do is for homework is to set up a salad bar this week. Go and set up a salad bar, share your photo of what you're using, and we'll see what everyone can do. And I'll pop that in right at the end, but I thought that was a good idea. Right, guys, let's get this set up to get out of here. I can actually do it this time. Anything I've missed out? Everyone's saying goodbye, so that's great. Right, guys, 6 p.m. next Sunday, we're all at it again. So until then, please take care.